to Money Talks. I'm Cathy Yang, your intel in the Philippine markets and the economy. In the headlines, the Bureau of Internal Revenue may resume the issuance of letters of authority within the first quarter as the agency seeks to boost revenue collection. The peso reaches a 2-week high as Malacanang says the president doesn't want the currency to hit 60 pesos against the dollar. And we speak with Union Digital on Trump's remittance tax, picky lending, and aiming for break-even by the second half of this year. Dr. Danilo Bong Mojica II, President and CEO of Union Digital Bank, joins us live. We have this developing story. Former Senator Bong Revilla and his co-accused are now being arraigned at the Sandigan Bayan in connection with their malversation case involving an alleged ghost flood control project in Bulacan. For the latest, we're joined by mobile journalist Arlos de los Santos, now in Quezon City. So what's the latest there, Arles?
Kasi alam mo, kanina pasadong alas 7 ng umaga dumating nga dito sa Sandigan Bayan si dating Senador Ramon Bong Revilla kasama ang kanyang mga kapwa-akusado kaugnay ng malversation through falsification of public documents na kaso sa 6th Division ng Sandigan Bayan. Bumaba si Revilla ng nakadilaw na t-shirt na mayroong tatak nga na BJMP at mayroong nakatali sa kanyang kamay, no? Kasunod niya syempre yung kanyang mga akusado ng mga dating opisyal ng Bulacan 1st District Engineering Office na sina Bryce Hernandez, JP Mendoza, RJ Dumasig at Juanito Mendoza. Ayan nga ay para sa pre-trial at arraignment ng kaso sa kanila kaugnay ng umano'y Ghost Flood Control Project sa Pandi, Bulacan na nagkakahalaga ng mahigit 70 million pesos. Ayon sa kaso, tila meron daw sa buwatan para nga ma-release ang pondo na nung inspeksyon ay walang anumang istruktura na natagpuan sa lugar. Ngayon naman, Cathy, kung nasaan tayo ngayon dito sa gate ng Sandigan Bayan, makikita natin ang mga taga-suporta ni dating Senador Bong Revilla at ang mga ito ay nanggaling pa sa unang distrito ng Cavite, kagaya na lamang ng Bacoor, Rosario, Kawit at Cavite City mismo, no? Kagaya na lamang nito ni Mother. Ikalawang beses niya na nandito, Cathy, no, at hawak-hawak niya nga yung placard na to, no, na embrace the process, God's timing is never wrong. Kung matatandaan natin, Cathy, tila deja vu na nga ito kay Senador Bong Revilla dahil humarap na din siya sa Sandigan Bayan kaugnay ng plunder case doon naman sa pork barrel scam halos isang dekada na ang nakalilipas. Naniniwala ang mga taga-suporta ni Revilla, Cathy, na inosente ang dating senador at ito daw ay isang political act at walang basehan ang mga reklamo na inihain laban sa dating mambabatas. Cathy.
Yung mga supporters nila ay expected bang sundan si Senator kung saan siya magpunta?
At least for them, Cathy, they're planning to stay here. Katulad ng ginawa nila nung unang beses na nandito sila. But compared to the volume of people when they were first here, nung unang dumating si Senator Bong Revilla para sa booking procedure, no, at surrendering ng warrant, mas kakaunti na talaga ito. Because on the first day, there are around 300 people and they're expecting 1,000 to arrive. But now, I think it's more or less 100 people lang.
All right, maraming salamat sa update. Arlos de los Santos, live from Quezon City. And the Bureau of Internal Revenue may resume issuing letters of authority or LOAs within the first quarter as it moves to boost revenue collection. Finance Secretary Frederick Go said tax audits cannot remain suspended indefinitely as the BIR works to meet its revised 3.4 trillion peso revenue target this year. An informed source said LOA issuance is likely to resume within the quarter, months after the agency halted field audits in November amid allegations of misuse. Go said reforms will accompany the restart, including fewer offices authorized to issue LOAs, limits on how many a taxpayer can receive, and a shift to digital, data-driven audit selection system. The BIR collected 3.11 trillion pesos in 2025, short of its target, underscoring the push to tighten collections this year. The peso rises to a two-week high as President Marcos indicates he doesn't want the local unit to reach the 60 to the dollar mark. The peso strengthened yesterday by 10 centavos to close at 59.16 to the dollar, its best finish since January 5th. It touched an intraday best of 59.095 and an intraday worst of 59.23. Mike Ricafort of RCBC says the peso firmed up after U.S. President Donald Trump retreated from his tariff threats on 8 European nations. These countries had criticized Trump for insisting on taking control of Greenland. The peso also strengthened after Marcos voiced opposition to the local unit breaching the 60 peso level. Palace Press Officer Claire Castro warned yesterday that such a depreciation would further strain government debt.
Ayaw po sana, ayaw po ng Pangulo na umabot pa to sa 60 pesos na palitan. So, abangan na lang po natin kung ano po muli ang mapag-uusapan at kung ano ang gagawin po ng BSP patungkol po dito. Pag tumaas po kasi ng 60 pesos, bumaba yung value ng peso, definitely, mag-i-increase yung debt natin because yung palitan po, tataas po yun.
This Friday, the Philippine peso opens stronger, 59.03 to the dollar. Digital payments in the Philippines continue to grow in 2025, with transactions coursed through InstaPay and PesoNet, reaching over 24 trillion pesos. Data from the Bangko Sentral show the combined value of transfers done via the payment gateways surged by over 42% from 17 trillion pesos in 2024. Transaction volume also more than tripled to nearly 4.8 billion, up from 1.5 billion a year earlier. Union Bank Chief Economist Ruben Asuncion said wider adoption by households and businesses, especially for large value transfers, drove the growth. RCBC Chief Economist Michael Ricafort added that improved convenience and security boosted usage across both platforms. Analysts expect continued digitalization to further lift InstaPay and PesoNet transactions this year. The U.S. has begun charging 1% federal tax on cash-funded remittances under President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill Act. That means added cost to millions of overseas workers and migrants in the U.S. sending money home to the Philippines, except for those transacting via digital and bank-funded transfers, as these are exempt. The U.S. remains the biggest source, accounting for 40% of inflows in 11 months. Well, with us now for more is Dr. Danilo Bong Mojica II, President and CEO of Union Digital Bank, or UD, the digital banking subsidiary of Union Bank of the Philippines. Good seeing you, Bong. Welcome to the program.
Hi, good morning.
All right, so how are digital transactions coming along now since the start of the remittance tax of 1% for UD?
It's a good thing that you gave a bit of context to that one because, number one, it is correct that 40% of remittances inbound are from the U.S. The further context, though, is that we have to understand that 70% of the 40% is already digital. It means there's only 12% left that is really not digital. So our kababayans out there actually have already embraced digital transactions, and these are exempt from the 1% tax. So what happens to the 12%? So that remains to be an opportunity for them to learn how to embrace the digital world, so to speak.
What is keeping them from going digital, that 12%?
Well, no matter what you say, there are people who still prefer to transact with cash. It's the same with digital transactions. They would rather still go to a teller, because that's the way they've been used to doing things. So I think a lot more education has to be done for banks like ourselves to let them know that that's a more convenient way of doing things now. Mid to long term, that's where the good news is, because the more it becomes expensive to transact on non-digital channels, the onus is really on us to make sure that we provide them the right value proposition to transfer to a digital channel.
Mm-hmm. Could it be more demographic, that 12%, that their preference lies in because it's what they know?
Yes, well, two kinds of demographics maybe. One is there's an age demographic there where they've gotten used to just having cash, or the very few from the United States who are at the lower income demographic who padala, they want to do it that way. And unless they, stick the money to somewhere, they really are going to be taxed.
1% tax, is that a big hit for anybody sending money home from the U.S. to the Philippines?
Well, if you compound that with the number of times that you send, it can be substantial. Plus, you have an exchange rate that fluctuates, so it can become substantial.
So the frequency will be less, but we're seeing the peso at 59, nearing 60.
Yes.
That's bang out of their buck.
Yes.
So they can send a lot less for more.
Exactly. So, and so I think, but I think the opportunity really is for more digitalization. There is one element that can get hit because from our research, it doesn't seem to be so digital yet because many Filipinos abroad right now, especially those in America, are sending money directly to real estate opportunities in the Philippines. And a lot of them still send cash, okay? But again, that's an opportunity for the real estate companies to offer digital means
But in
through the
terms
banks.
of UD, how are you going to harness that to become an opportunity? What are you doing from UD's perspective to try and get that 12% to go digital and go within your ecosystem?
Yeah, well, that's a good question with good insights because I'll get into what UD went through in 25, okay? But as I move forward, part of our ecosystem is to work with partners. And one of the biggest partners that we will be working with is SSS. Now, one of the challenges that SSS has are those citizens abroad who want to contribute to a pension fund in the Philippines have really no structured way of sending remittances at the moment. So the opportunity for us, and this is why we partnered with Chairman Jay Declaro and the SSS community and create them to be part of our ecosystem, is because this is exactly what we want to harness. Because we're a digital bank, we can provide bank accounts to anybody who is outside and who is going outside so that the transactions when paying SSS premiums can be very seamless. So that is one of the big ones because there's 20 million SSS pensioners out there, but there's still a greater number that they'd like to get into the fold, so to speak.
Okay, so that greater number then, how are you hoping to pull them in? Because it's not just about remitting, but really being able to loan money,
Yes.
presumably from the digital bank.
So I think, there lies the meat of what Union Digital does, okay? Because we are what we term as a lending first digital bank. Many banks, they did payments, they did wallets. We chose in late 24 to create a strategic shift to just become a lending first bank. Now, I don't know, I want to spend 1 minute to talk about something that many people don't know, but the Filipino has a prosperity journey. He goes through particular stages. And funny enough, the first part of that prosperity journey is mangungutang muna ako para sa mga pangangailangan ko. Okay? And then that becomes mangungutang ako dun sa mga, institutions. And then when they have their small business running, they have more disposable income, then they're able to spend on others. And then when they have bigger needs, they borrow again. So until they reach a point of not saturation, but comfort. But I'm talking about a different demographic because the prosperity journey of people of the higher demographic doesn't start that way. It starts when my dad gave me a lot of money. Okay, so we're talking about that demographic, and that's what we cater to. So we are with them in every step of that journey, and this is also the reason why we launched a campaign called Kaya Mo in 2025. We told the Filipinos that in each part of this journey, we are your partner. And therefore, given that, that becomes impetus now for people like the SSS pensioners to not be afraid of using digital means and to discover other things that they can do in the digital realm. Invest, borrow money, pay. So that's where we are actually at the moment.
Well, let's talk about your journey in terms of asset quality. You made a mention of that experience you've had in the previous years with the unsecured retail book because Moody's cited it as a driver for problem loans.
Yes.
How's the cleanup been?
Okay.
And the recalibration that you're doing?
All right.
DD?
It's very important. We had challenges before, okay? But those challenges were brought about by, I think, a mindset where bigger is better, okay? More loans bodes well for the bank. What we did was, again, we did a pivot. And we created and we implemented a strategy called Low and Grow. Okay? So we start small, and then you grow as you get experience. So that involved three things. Number one, let's shrink our loan book. Let's not aim for the stars. But the important thing is we learn. Okay? So that's one. So our pautang, from a tenor standpoint and from a value standpoint, we made it small.
So the problem to loan ratio is now between, what, 6 to 7%? Because that was a target for last year.
Yeah,
Did you get to meet it?
Well, right now we are spot on with both our good loans, our loan, and also our NPL. Our NPL is significantly below where it used to be, and that's a major metric that I have because we're an unsecured loan specialty bank.
But where then do you draw the line and maybe find that sweet spot now that you're a pickier lender, but you also want to be inclusive?
So, okay, that's the question is not where to draw the line, but the question is how good we are in picking, because there's 37.5 million Filipinos out there who are, I won't say they're not included, but there are opportunities for banks.
So who's your core customer right now after that cleanup?
Those are the core customers. Those at the basically close to the bottom of the pyramid, and we wanna stay there. Those who will avail of loans between 30 and 50,000 pesos, and pay it in 3 to 6 months. We're very, very focused on those guys.
All right. Just a final question. Break even by the second half of this year. Are you still confident given we've had slowing growth and a corruption governance issues to deal with?
Yes, I think even more so because we've been even more careful now, okay, in who to lend to and what to lend, how much to lend, and how to collect. But we've also been more aggressive in educating them about, you're with us, we're with you in your prosperity journey.
All right. Well, good luck on that prosperity journey this year.
Sige,
Bong,
thank you. Okay.
Bong Mojica II, the President and CEO of UD. While you're watching Money Talks, coming up, S&P Global says the Philippines may not hit its renewable energy targets. And U.S. President Trump launches Board of Peace in Davos. This and more world headlines after the break. Keep it here on One News. Welcome back to Money Talks. I'm Cathy Yang. Checking in on the markets now. Trump's tariffs U-turn over Greenland has buoyed investors, with the Nasdaq rising yesterday by nearly 1% and the Dow climbs by 0.6% and the S&P 500 advances by 0.5%. U.S. 10-year Treasury yields went virtually unchanged at 4.25%, but gold prices hit another record high at $49.08 per ounce, nearing the 5,000 mark. Stock futures are trading near the flat line. The Dow, the S&P, and the Nasdaq are all up by about 0.1% each. Asian markets tracking Wall Street gains now, with investors awaiting the decision of the Bank of Japan. South Korea's Kospi up by over 1%. Both the Dow and the Nasdaq rises by 0.1% each. Analysts expect Japan's central bank to keep rates unchanged at 0.75%. And a look at our own markets in this final trading week. The PSEI opens this Friday higher, 6,403. The stock market rebounded yesterday by over 1% as Trump reversed course on his tariff threats. The broader all-shares index climbed by 0.6%, with local counters all in the green except for mining and oil. To recap, the peso opens today stronger, 59.03 to the dollar. The peso closed to a two-week high yesterday at 59.16 against the greenback. 10-year government bond yields went virtually unchanged at 6.07% from the previous close of 6.072%. In corporate news, solar developer SB New Energy Corp, or SBNEC, is seeking approval to change its corporate name to MGen Renewable Energy Holdings Incorporated. In a regulatory filing, SBNEC said its board approved amendments to its articles of incorporation to reflect the change in the company's name, stock symbol, and logo, aligned with the broader branding strategy of the Meralco PowerGen Group. The proposed changes will still need approval from stockholders and the Securities and Exchange Commission. SBNEC is a subsidiary of MGen Renewable Energy Incorporated, the renewable energy arm of Meralco PowerGen, which is under Meralco. And still on renewable energy, S&P Global says the Philippines may miss its targets due to grid constraints and permit delays. The firm projects renewables may reach 27% of the power mix in the next 4 years and 50% by 2050. That is below the government's goals of 35% by 2030 and 65% by 2050. S&P flagged solar intermittency, limited storage, and higher financing costs as key challenges, despite the government's green energy auctions and push for more renewable energy investments. The headlines from around the globe. In Spain, a fourth railway accident grips the country this week, this time in the port of Cartagena. A commuter train collided with a crane on Thursday, injuring at least 4. Spain is still reeling from Sunday's collision of 2 high-speed trains, which killed at least 43. On Tuesday, a commuter train in Barcelona derailed, leaving the driver dead and 4 seriously injured. That same day, a collision occurred in northeastern Spain. Spain's main train drivers' union has called for a nationwide strike over safety standards. In Switzerland, U.S. President Donald Trump launches his Board of Peace, which some fear may rival the United Nations. The board was formed to oversee Gaza's rebuilding, but Trump foresees it taking a wider role in global affairs. Members such as Turkey, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Indonesia must help fund the board with a payment of $1 billion each. Traditional Western allies are wary of the board, and representatives from either Israel or Gaza were absent during the launch. And still in Switzerland, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky calls on Europe to be a united force and defend itself more. In an unscheduled speech at the World Economic Forum, Zelensky describes life in Ukraine like the movie Groundhog Day, with attacks coming amid a cold winter. With the United States offering no security guarantees, Zelensky says Europe should not be, quote, a salad of small and middle powers. Zelensky met with Trump in Davos, where a framework to end the war between Ukraine and Russia is nearing its final stages. Shifting gears before we go, here are the movies to catch this weekend. And yes, it is the weekend. First up, the horror thriller film Primate. A tropical getaway turns into a terrifying primal tale of horror and survival as a group of friends fight off a clever chimpanzee that has become rabid. Let's take a look.
Bad. Bad. Bad.
You're on the phone. Try recent calls. Yes, it's ringing. Brad, listen to me. We need help.
Oh, you need some help?
Send some.
Bad Monkey. Next is the legend of Hey 2, the long-awaited sequel to the hit animated series. The film follows Xiao He as a sudden attack pulls him back into conflict, testing his loyalty and the choices he must make in a changing world.
注意，
我不是关门弟子吗？
刘氏会馆遭到袭击，将军全部阵亡，动手的是人类。
有点意思。
Pick and choose which one will it be? Maybe watch both. That is it for Money Talks. I'm Cathy Yang. Catch us again Monday, 9:30 a.m. Kapatid, we are one news, all sides, all the time. Have a great weekend ahead. I'll see you Monday.